The only reason I did not end up taking a personal loan of 7.5 lakhs to an MLM scheme was because my bank had an issue with my permanent address. If that wasn't the case, I don't know what I would have ended up with. This is a story of how I almost lost 7.5 lakhs to an MLM scheme. I never thought I would be so naive to even begin start falling for a scheme like an MLM. But when it comes from the people you know and respect, things like logic and critical thinking, they just don't even come into the picture. The person who initially approached me was a person whom I had known for some time personally and professionally. Let's call her Priya. Priya is a chartered accountant who has been working in a large consulting firm for many years, and she's someone whom I look up to and respect. So this was not some random person texting me on WhatsApp stating that I could make 1 lakh per month sitting at home. This came from someone I know and trust professionally. And for some background, I am a company secretary working in Bangalore. I work 5 days a week, 9 hours a day. Now, all of this started with a phone call from Priya. We were catching up on our life and work in general when she mentioned that she is quitting a job. I asked her why is she doing that. In my head, she had a pretty great job and she was making pretty good money. To which she replied, stating that now she has realized that she wants to do something of her own and she just want to escape the employment route or trap or whatever you may call. I was like, yeah, that's great. Very few people gather the courage to start something of their own, and so I encouraged her for it. Then she asked me, what is my outlook on life? Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Do I still want to be working, etc.? To which I said, even I want to start something of my own, but I had never thought about it with a complete commitment because in my life I'm still finding that financial stability from my job itself, and to even think about going completely to start something of my own is not the state I am in right now. At that point I felt like we were having a normal conversation about life, but now looking back I feel like I had given exactly what could be used to sell a business opportunity to me. After exactly 1 week, Priya calls me again. Priya tells me that there's a business opportunity. She's speaking very fast. She's excited. She's telling me, I have to get on it and this is the perfect opportunity for me, etc. And she wanted me to speak to her mentor, Sachin, who had been helping her with business advice and, basically coaching her. Listening to this, I got excited. I was having a bad day at work, and this is exactly what I wanted to hear. The timing could not have been better for that pitch. I said, "Yeah, sure, we can connect." I mean, there's nothing wrong with sitting down with that person and trying to analyze what that person wants to say, right? I mean, it doesn't mean I'm getting on a call will automatically get me into something that I don't want to. That was my mindset. Priya, Sachin, and I connected over Google Meet. Priya had already introduced Sachin to me by this time. Sachin basically had been working on this business for about 14 years and he wanted to expand his operations in south of India. At that point, I felt like I was being considered for something important. It did not feel like someone was trying to sell me something. I felt like I was being evaluated. Sachin started asking me very personal questions, like about my family, about my goals, and about my outlook on life. Which is fine, I answered them because let's be honest, if you are going to be business partners with someone, you are going to be knowing them inside out. Then he asked me something very important. He asked me whether I had ever written down my goals and specified monetary value against those goals, meaning how much exactly would I have to earn if I were to achieve those goals. He said 97% of the people don't even know what they want from their life. I don't know where he pulled that numbers from, but at that moment it felt right. Honestly, I had never written down any goals at all. I mean, my goals were always in my mind and I never thought I would actually have to write them down. But I'd never thought about it like that. So I said no, I'd never written down my goals. Then he told me it is very important for everyone to write down their goals to have better clarity in their life. He asked me if I could write at least 20 of my personal goals, do this exercise, and we can speak again and connect again 2 days after that. Immediately after the call, I started writing down those 20 goals. It was way more difficult than I expected because one part of my brain was actually trying to evaluate and understand what I want from my life and what are the goals that I want to achieve. And the other part of my brain was trying to impress Priya and Sachin by writing very different sort of goals that I don't personally connect with. Because in my head, this felt like a once in a lifetime opportunity and I did not want to miss it. I had already started imagining what my life would look like if all of this worked out. I would be able to escape the employment route, I would be able to achieve my goals, life would be more in my control, and so on. After 24 hours, I could actually write 18 very realistic goals. I made myself to delete all the goals that were, trying to impress Sachin and Priya, and these 18 goals were actually that were personal to me. This included buying a home, buying a car, doing certain charities, having a retirement fund, having an investment portfolio, doing certain things for my mom, and etc. The total amount that was coming to achieve all these 18 goals was 35 crores over the next 15 to 20 years. This was approximately on today's value. That detail becomes important later. I also did a parallel calculation on my Excel to understand how many years it would actually take if I were to achieve these goals with my current job. Forget about the years, it nearly felt impossible. We met again. I had shared my list of goals to Priya. Priya had further shared it to Sachin. Sachin had asked me what are my non-negotiable goals out of these 18 goals. And we narrowed out those 18 goals to top 5 non-negotiable goals. And you'll not believe the total amount actually jumped to 45 crores. Now, the reason the amount rose from 35 crores to 45 crores, even after reducing 18 goals to 5 goals, was primarily because of inflation. My top 18 goals were based on present day costs. But when you factor inflation on my top 5 goals, the amount came to 45 crores. Suddenly, my regular job didn't just feel insufficient. It just felt meaningless against the life I wanted. Then he started asking me very specific questions. Sachin asked me whether the industry of the business would matter if the business meant achieving my goals. I said no, as long as the business is ethical, the industry should not matter. In my head, I was thinking of selling tea or selling vegetable. It doesn't really matter, right? If you are able to achieve your goals and live the life you wanted, it doesn't really matter what type of industry you are living in. Then he asked, would the opinion of others matter if it meant achieving my goals? I said no, it doesn't really matter, right? Then these questions started to feel very strange for me. It felt like Sachin was himself not proud of what he was doing. So he wanted to ensure that I would not feel the same about it. This was the first time where I actually asked, what is this business actually about? To which Sachin said, it's another completely different conversation where he would be taking me through a 4 hour of blueprint, and he did not want to discuss that at this moment. By this time, we had already done 2 calls and I had already shared details with respect to my family, my goals, and the things I want from my life, etc. But when it comes to the business, I did not even know the company name, the industry, or even what the business is about. This was the first time when Sachin actually mentioned about the capital. He mentioned that I would have to bring in 7.5 lakhs as capital. Now, I understand economics and business to a certain extent, so it did not feel like a red flag to me. If you want to start something, if you want to build something, obviously there would be a capital requirement, and the amount itself was not that significant if it meant, the business would be great, etc. But did I have that kind of amount with me? No, I did not have that. Sachin asked me, is that amount readily available with you? I said, no, I do not have that readily available with me. He asked me, how am I going to arrange for it? I said, I'll have to speak to my family, and if that doesn't work out, I'll probably go to my bank. He mentioned that many people have discussion about goals and business opportunities, etc. But when the discussion about money comes up, people just back out. So that is why he wanted that amount to be readily available with me when he sits down with me for a 4 hour of blueprint. Just think about the order here. I was made to arrange 7.5 lakhs even without knowing the type of the business that I was getting myself into. Sachin gave me a very strong deadline of 4 days. He mentioned that if someone is actually serious about getting, to achieve their goals, he has seen people arrange this kind of money even in a single day. He also told me that they were parallelly evaluating other candidates as well. So the sooner I get the money readily available, the better it is for me, and he would not have to keep the other people stalling. He also mentioned that Priya would be calling me on the fourth day at 8 p.m. in the night to discuss about this. If I did not pick up the call, or if I said I did not have that amount of money, he mentioned that they would never reach out to me again. Now, I don't come from a very rich family, and arranging that kind of money in a single day is probably not possible. Even on a 4-day window, it is not possible, let's be honest. So I approached my bank on the very next day. They have a branch literally at the ground floor where my office is situated. I asked them if I am eligible for the loan, to which they said, yeah, you are eligible. And they were obviously happy to give a personal loan. I mean, the personal loan interest rates range from 10 to 15%. And for about 7.5 lakhs, the interest rate would be roughly 13 to 14% at the bank I was trying. So they were okay with that loan, but there was an issue with my permanent address. So they asked me for more time to evaluate the application. Now, by this time, Priya had reached out to me multiple times to see if I was able to arrange that kind of money. I said no, I would need more time. I had already told her this before, but she kept on reaching out to me, and she even asked me if I wanted any connects to personal loan agents. I said no, my bank is looking at it, just give me some more time, I will get back to you. Then she also sent me a movie. It's called The Secret. It's about law of attraction. She wanted me to watch it in one go and, not just pause it or, get up, put it in the background or something. She wanted me to watch it in one go, and she was very specific about it. I said, yeah, let me look into it. While the bank was evaluating the application, I finally had some time to process everything that had just happened to me. For the first time, I was not on a call with them, trying to impress them or trying to answer everything correctly, or, doing an exercise, writing top 20 goals. For the first time, I actually had time to sit and evaluate things. And when I was doing that, I could actually observe a very strange pattern. First, there was a person familiar to me acting as a bridge between me and a successful mentor. Then they wanted me to write down 20 specific goals, and they actually did, exaggerate it to a point where the monetary amount felt so enormous. Then they wanted me to arrange 7.5 lakhs in 4 days of window without even telling me what the business was about. Then they also kept creating urgency by telling that there were other candidates waiting, and they were even willing to connect me with their personal loan agents when I said I don't have that kind of money and I'm arranging for it from my end. And they also tried to convince me that the industry of the business did not matter, and opinion of people also did not matter if it meant, achieving my goals. Another question hit me. Why would someone who has been supposedly doing business for the last 14 years would want me to do their expansion in south of India without actually evaluating my business experience or financial capacity? That was when the two videos that I watched a couple of years back hit me. One was about the MLM scheme and one was about the law of attraction. Both of them are from the same YouTuber called James Chani. I'll link the videos in the description. It was honestly a blessing that I had an issue with my permanent address. If that loan had gone through the moment I had applied for it, I would have been dealing with repayment of my personal loan. There would have been an enormous amount of interest, and my CIBIL score would have taken a hit as well. I had not transferred any money yet, but this pitch took me from one casual phone call to applying for debt even when I knew nothing about the business. On the fourth day, I had gone to watch Project Hail Mary. Priya called me at 8 o'clock to check if I was done with arranging the money. I declined the call. I assumed that they would not reach out to me again because Sachin had especially mentioned that if I declined the call, if I was not able to arrange for the money, they would assume that I was not interested. But well, Priya texted me again on the fifth day asking whether I was able to arrange the funds. To which I said no, I don't think I'm interested in this. I don't think I'm aligned with how things are being done. So you can consider me not interested in this. She read my text, but she did not respond to it for about 10 to 12 hours. I don't know what happened to her, but she probably was checking with Sachin on how to respond further. After that, she told me that, she actually wants to speak to me to understand what exactly, changed my perspective. Actually, to be honest, I did not want to engage with her anymore. So I just sent her both of those James Chani videos so that, even she maybe could get out of that trap. And I also mentioned that I do not want to discuss this ever again. So this is how I almost borrowed 7.5 lakhs for a business whose name, product and model had not been disclosed to me. If I had entered that scheme, my business would have been actually trying to find people like me and sell them their own dreams and trying to monetize on that. But there are few things that I actually learned from this whole experience. First, the goal writing exercise. To be honest, I never really thought about it this way, that you actually have to specify the monetary value against your goals. Now, I want you also to do this exercise where you list down the particulars of your goal and also mention the monetary value, put it in an Excel sheet, and analyze how much exactly you want to make to, live the life that you want. Because most of the time, we underestimate the goals that we have in our head. We think that the path that we are in, the vehicle we are taking to achieve our goals is sufficient. But most of the time that is not the case. So do me a favor, do this exercise and you will have so much clarity in your life. And the second one is, just because you know the person does not mean you should lower your guard. You should always do your due diligence. You should always exercise logic and critical thinking. And you should always put yourself first and be in a situation where you can ask questions without being in a situation where you are trying to impress and answer everything correctly. Just don't let that come before you. That is, I think, one of the most important things I learned in this whole experience. Luckily, I did not lose any money and ended up with just a CIBIL inquiry. That hurts a bit, but that's fine. And if you've ever been approached with a scheme like this, let me know in the comments and we can have a small conversation about it. And if you're watched till here, I want you to subscribe to this channel because we will be discussing money, we'll be discussing scams, we'll be discussing systems that affect our daily lives. So let's get on this journey and understand things together. Thank you for watching.